guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Sarah Lindsay, a 3-time Olympian and founder of Roar Fitness, known for her training top celebrities. Sarah is also a passionate advocate against the use of Ozempic for weight loss, which is the topic we're going to delve deep into today. Welcome to the show, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
Thank you so much for being here because honestly, as Casey has mentioned before the show, this is a topic that we're very excited to talk about. But before we talk about Ozempic, as a 3-time Olympian, how do you reflect on the time that you devoted to sport?
I mean, it was my whole life. It was, 20 years. And it's been quite a while since I've retired. So it seems like a long time ago, but at the same time, kind of like yesterday. But a very different life to now, for sure.
It's interesting. So you went from being an Olympian, and the question is kind of like time devoted to fitness, and you've obviously worked with celebrities. You're recognized as a celebrity trainer. So when you work with them and the time that's expected to kind of achieve that body, what is expected from us when you're working with us and celebrities? Like, what do we need to achieve fitness time-wise?
I mean, it's 3 times a week. People expect to have to do running every day and be really strict with their food. But actually what I'm asking of people is just 3 hours, 3 times a week, which has got all the results, which is, what we're known for ultimately. So it's not this huge time commitment. You need to recover. It's not just, train more and more and more and eat less and less and less, because where does that go? It's, you need to train hard, you need to recover, train hard, recover. I need you to come in with energy, not being tired.
3 times a week. I'm done.
That's all.
I'm writing notes in my head. I'm literally I'm actually, I'm thinking because you have trained celebrities like Ellie Goulding, Piers Morgan, and so on. So what are the biggest challenges that you face? Because of course it's not that easy if, when training big celebrities. And what's the biggest mistake that we all are doing as a collective?
I actually think what I just said, the fact that everybody's trying to just do more and more and more and making themselves really tired. And I think that sort of perception of what you really have to do, it is a lifestyle, it is a commitment to achieving the goal. But I think it's far easier. Once you know what to do, it's far easier than people expect. But everybody has something that's going to get in the way, something that makes it difficult for them. And I think a big part of our job is finding solutions for that, whatever it is.
Well, that's the thing. We all have that mind block. Everyone has that one thing. And I think if someone's watching now, I think the hardest part of the fitness journey is starting it. So to anyone watching now who is there and, we want to be in our routine, we want to get better, what advice would you impart with us as people who want to start that journey?
I think it is that nervousness to walk into the gym in the first place. I think that is the hardest bit for people. And I think sometimes you just have to bite down and take that first step. I understand how daunting that can be, but please remember that everybody in the gym started at some point. They're not all experts. You think you're going to look around and everybody knows what they're doing and you're the only one that doesn't. But once you've got into this journey and you do understand what to do and you do understand how to train, then you walk into a gym and look around and you think, oh, actually, most people are doing it wrong. So you just need the knowledge. You just need a bit of education and a bit of understanding. And I think it helps you sort of get past that first barrier.
The fear.
I mean, I love that you said that because, of course, I've gone to the gym a lot of times. And I'm like, oh my God, are people judging me? Do I know what am I doing? And as well, there's a question that I would like to ask. For example, there's a huge misconception that we need to be healthy throughout, for the rest of our lives, and that if we break off let's say our diet or our healthy eating habits for a certain period of time, which can be due to emotional stress or things that we are going through, it's oh my God, it's all gone, and then you lose all of the motivation. So what is the one misconception regarding that you would like to tackle?
Well, I think once you get out of a habit, so it takes some time to build a habit and make those sort of healthy choices every day, and it's always going to be beneficial to be as healthy as possible. Underlying whatever you're doing, optimal health has to be a goal for longevity and feeling good all the time. But if you take a holiday, everyone has breaks. You take a holiday, or you get sick, or you can't train, or you have an injury. it wasn't a waste of time. You know, the time that you've put in and the time you've served training and eating well, of course, still impacts your body. And people talk a lot about muscle memory. It's something that's quite familiar with people. But you can still get back in and usually pick up quite close to where you left off. You know, your cardio conditioning will drop off after a couple of weeks, but you can pick that up in 2 or 3 sessions. That, you know, comes back very quickly. And the last thing to go is your strength. So you hold on to that strength for, you know, potentially years. So don't worry, it's not all lost. Just, you know, just get back in as soon as you can, you'll be fine.
You know, I think it's important that we started this conversation discussing health and habit building, because now Ozempic has entered the chat, Mounjaro has entered the chat. Can you just describe to our audience what they are and what are they used for?
Well, there's this obviously a huge craze now in these weight loss injections, and so many people are using them, which I think is the real issue. You know, there's a couple of scenarios where I think, you know, it definitely has its place. And if advised by a doctor or for somebody that is either significantly overweight and, you know, really does need that help. And I think the other situation is where if somebody has really bad overeating habits that's happened for a long time, it can potentially get you out of that if you take it for a period of time. But what I see is abuse. I see thin people wanting to be thinner. And I thought we'd moved past this. You know, it was, you know, very dated, I think, to want to be as thin as possible. And, you know, we kind of moved forwards and we wanted to be strong and healthy, and we have embraced different body types. And we seem to have taken this massive step back, because the thing with these weight loss drugs are that it does get faster results. You know, it does happen quicker. You do lose weight. So it's very tempting for people that have tried lots of different things and they're just not, you know, managing to get the result. And I completely understand that. And you see other people around you. So of course it's tempting, but you have to bear in mind the long-term implications of this. One, we don't really know what they are. But secondly, you're losing muscle. 100%. If you lose weight that quickly, you will also lose muscle. And people don't necessarily want to be, you know, muscular, if you like. But, you know, you get to a certain point in your life, especially for women, where it becomes so important. The biggest thing you can do for anti-aging is to gain muscle and improve your metabolism. You know, you need to be able to eat as much food as you can to get as much nutrients into your body to be as healthy as possible. And the more muscle you have and the higher your metabolism, the more food you can eat. Right. So if you reduce that and you reduce your metabolism, you can't eat food or lots of food without gaining weight. So then you end up not eating very much and being malnourished. And that comes with a host of diseases that I think, you know, as personal trainers, we're going to have to pick up the pieces.
This is a conversation that needs to be had for sure.
Agreed, and as well because like we have seen with the Ozempic or Mounjaro, you know, when people who are using it or like having the injections, they have like the Mounjaro or like Ozempic face of like this sudden. So what do you think? What causes that sudden drop in their faces?
The very fast weight loss. The fact that it's so quick. You know, you lose weight from everywhere, you lose muscle, and also muscle from your face. How hard are we working to, you know, to keep our faces youthful? But when you remove all the fat tissue, that obviously also comes from your face as well. And that sudden loss and that loss of elasticity will make the skin drop. And nobody wants that, you know, everybody, you know, like I say, especially here, we're all working so hard to stay looking young and youthful, but really underneath all of that comes from your health. You know, it comes from the nutrients that you manage to ingest. So, yeah, it's just trying to, I think, point out all the sides to this so people can make a more educated decision instead of that sort of knee-jerk reaction to hearing something good or feeling bad that day and thinking, right, I'm just going to take this route. There are better ways to do it.
But that's the thing, and it's important to have the conversation that we're in no way advocating the use of Ozempic for weight loss from this side, but it's also understanding that weight is such a sensitive topic for people, and when someone feels like they've tried everything and you're looking at these people on Instagram, you know that they're using it and you want to say, okay, I want to use it, but I want to approach it logically as well. Yeah. Have you had anyone come to you and say, I want to try this because I feel like I'm at the end of the road in terms of weight loss, I can't achieve it, but I want to do it in a safe way? Has that conversation come up? And if so, is that possible?
Yeah, it's come up a lot, you know, and I will do my best to talk people round because I can prove that you don't need to do that. But if somebody is going to take Ozempic and they do want to go down that route, the two sort of main bits of advice, you have to eat plenty of protein and you need to weight train. You know, forget trying to do the other things that, you know, maybe traditionally you've believed will help you lose weight, like doing lots of cardio. That's only going to make your situation worse. You're going to lose more muscle. So the best thing you can do for yourself is try and maintain your body composition as far as the muscle mass goes and keep weight training. Just keep stimulating the muscle as much as possible and hopefully you'll maintain more of that while your body loses body fat. So lots of protein, lots of lifting.
Can I just ask, I'm very aware of Ozempic. I've seen it in the media for a couple of months now. However, I mentioned it to a friend and they hadn't heard of it. So I'm just wondering, in your position, how common is the conversation? How many people are talking about it? Is it, are a lot of people talking about it, thinking about taking it?
I think it's... I'm writing articles about it every day. I'm getting asked by the press and media to talk about it more than anything. It's a real sort of buzz subject. I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope we move past it, but I hope we don't have to wait until things start to go wrong for people before we do that. I just want some more education to come out and for people to have, like I said, a better understanding of the long-term implications. So fingers crossed, but yeah, it's a huge subject. Everybody's talking about it at the moment because it's the thing that's really changing for people.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of education, I'm sorry to say this, but I need to bring TikTok to the chat. I mean, I am on TikTok, like most of my day I'm on TikTok, and I see girls using Ozempic, and as well they go oh, you know what, I don't have breakfast, I have this drink of they mix weird things together, and it apparently really helped them lose a lot of weight, because right now the trend all over is being skinny. And something that model Carly Kloss has mentioned, it's nothing feels as good as, nothing tastes better than skinny.
Yeah, I think that was originally a Kate Moss.
What do you exactly?
I remember seeing it when I was 16 on someone's wall in school, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Literally, it's that's the only thing that comes to your head. So what do you think of these TikTok trends of oh yeah, you know what, do this, have Ozempic, and do this kind of workout, and you will look amazing. You
have to remember that TikTok is clickbait. Ultimately, people are trying to go viral. People are trying to get more hits. And a lot of the time, the more negative you post, or the more controversial you post, of course, it's going to get more hits than if you just say nice things and give people, positive encouragement. So you have to bear this in mind when you look at these things. It's not necessarily the truth. We all know the sort of smoke and mirrors that go on with social media. So I think take it with a pinch of salt. And use your brain. Logically, does that sound like it's, I don't know what's in this concoction, but does it sound like it's a healthy thing? You have to value your health. People don't care when they're in that desperate moment of wanting to lose weight, and I get that, but you have to think about your health more importantly than anything. If your body isn't healthy, then if you want to lose body fat, it won't happen as easily. If you want to gain muscle, that won't happen as easily. All those things really do come into play, and you really do need to pay attention to them if you want your body to respond to what you're asking it to do, not just these short-term fixes.
Do you think there are use cases for Ozempic for weight loss?
I think, like I said, if somebody's extremely overweight, then yeah, because there's a whole host of things that can be a problem if you're overweight, and health issues that can go with that. So yes, I think as a last resort, then for sure, and again under the supervision of a doctor, and potentially, I'm not sure about this, wholeheartedly, but when people are in an overeating situation, they can't break those habits. If you do something different for say 12 weeks, I think it's 12 weeks to form a new habit. So if, for example, you don't want to eat and you're not as, tempted to go and snack and eat things that you shouldn't be eating because it suppressed your appetite, then maybe it breaks that cycle of binging, potentially, as a psychological thing. But still, there are healthier ways. I think it just takes a little bit more input from you. a little more dedication.
Have you had clients where like they have been on Ozempic and then but they've stopped Ozempic, and of course after that the effects of Ozempic have been like they're gone. So all that they're doing is of course maybe binge eating, because you know, like as mentioned, the Ozempic effect is gone, and because they didn't lose weight the sustainable way.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know many people that are taking Ozempic, and like I said, I've managed to talk people around and try this first. We have this, enormous wall of transformations, these before and after pictures in all of our gyms, and I think that can be really inspiring to people. So showing people that it can be done a different way is the route I'm trying to go down, and I do hope that if people do go down, the Ozempic route, then it doesn't have a terrible, negative effect on them, and they can sustain it, and they've got themselves, because sometimes it's hard to make that change and to get there in the first place, but maintenance isn't as hard. Maintaining your body once you've achieved it is easier than, making those dramatic changes in the first place. So I think, fingers crossed that everybody's going to be okay.
There are healthier ways. I think that's where we'll leave it. Absolutely. If you're thinking about Ozempic, say no. If it's not an absolute health requirement. Sarah, Lindsay from Roar Fitness, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And that brings us to the end of the show on this Monday morning. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Casey.
And we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Bye-bye.